When I started playing guitar, I was 12 years old. I wanted to play guitar because I just thought it was such a cool instrument. I thought it sounded really cool. You know, when I listened to music that had guitar music in it, particularly like the Beach Boys in that period, in the mid-60s, it was just the driving force of the music. And it just kind of spoke to me, I think. I remember this was around the time, I guess I was probably 13 or 14, 15 years old. I used to go to a music store, Long and McQuade's in Toronto, and I would sit on an amp and I'd pull a guitar down and I would play for about an hour until the salesman came over and said, "Okay, kid, beat it." And then I'd come back the next Saturday and I would sit on another amp and I'd pull a guitar down and I'd play for an hour. Same salesman would come over and say, "Okay, kid, beat it." So this would go on for weeks and weeks and weeks and months. I played 335, an SG, a Les Paul. Those instruments were just amazing to me. Like a Les Paul, for example, there was so much history in that shape and the players that played that guitar. The SG was the same thing. I was a fan of Eric Clapton's, and he had that beautifully painted SG of his. The 335 Jorma Kekkonen from the Jefferson Airplane, and Alvin Lee, B.B. King, they were all ES players. And there was something that was sort of unique about that guitar in a rock context. It didn't seem like a rock guitar like a Les Paul or an SG was. I always wanted to have the Gibson. It was just a matter of timing. In the fall of, I think it was 1969, a friend of John Rutsey's had a guitar for sale. We bought that guitar, and I started playing it every waking minute that I had. I just couldn't stop playing it. I had a very inexpensive starter guitar before that, not at the level of a Gibson. I just couldn't believe how easy it was to play. Not that I was much of a player. The neck felt so much smoother, the action was so much lighter and easier. I was used to an action that was 2 inches high off the string, so everything that, all the simple things that I could play just felt so much easier. I really looked forward to playing that 335, and I remember coming home from school every day and playing until dinner time, and then I said, forget about homework, I'll just play guitar. Those bar gigs that we were doing in sort of the early 70s to the middle 70s when we got our first record deal, that was my main guitar. I had a backup guitar, but I tended to use the 335 more than anything. And then, of course, once we got our advanced on our record deal, we went shopping at Long and McQuade's, and Neil bought a set of drums and Geddy bought an amp, and I think he bought a bass or a couple of basses, and I ended up buying my first Les Paul, which was a Les Paul Deluxe. That was so cool doing that. That was like a dream come true for any young musician, I think.